everyone, welcome to another awesome video, and this video is even more awesome because for once I'm actually not talking about something really negative about the community. And I know I really have a habit of that, but listen, there's a lot of problems with the community and I always feel the need to talk about them. But today is going to be lots of positivity, and today I'm going to be answering some frequently asked questions about the Therian community. Now, I'm going to be answering all of these personally, kind of. Obviously, I know I'm a real Therian, so I'm sure I'm certified to answer these, but keep in mind that some people's answers are going to be a little bit different depending on who you ask, but these are not going to be actual facts. I mean, some of them might be, but for the most part, I'm going to be speaking from my personal experiences, and hopefully it helps y'all to understand the community better, whether you are just becoming a Therian or, just awakened as a Therian because you can't become a Therian, or you are questioning being a Therian and you would like to know more about the community you might be getting into, or if you've already been a Therian for a while and you just want to know more. So this video is for pretty much anyone who's just generally curious. Heck, even the haters or anti-Therians might want to learn more about the community, so make sure to pay attention because there's quite a bit to learn. Now, let's get into this. Let's go right in with question number 1, which I get asked this way too much. What is a Therian? Now, obviously, not everyone knows, and that's kind of what you're here for. So, this might be a little difficult to explain. Basically, if you look it up, a Therian is someone who identifies as a non-human animal spiritually or mentally. Now, Therians do identify as animals, but not physically. We know that we are physically human, as we can't change that, and we're not trying to change our bodies into an animal. That would be transspecies, and that's an entirely different thing. But we just identify as an animal mentally because we feel that way, and that can either be because we were an animal in a past life, or we have an animal spirit inside of us. It really just depends on the individual. But me personally, I just feel like a dog inside. So that is my identity. I am just a cute little puppy on the inside on this human body. But hopefully that answers your question in the most simple way possible. And if it's still a bit confusing, I would recommend looking it up, but there's going to be a lot of different terms like ultra-humanity or otherkin, and I personally haven't done any research on either of those, so I would not be the person to ask for that. Question number 2, how do you know if you're a Therian or not? Now, there's quite a few ways. Me personally, I think the biggest thing that really screamed that I was a Therian. Now, I awakened at 15 years old. I am 17 currently, and I have identified and acted as a dog my entire life before I even knew what therianthropy was. So it was really confusing actually coming out or awakening as a Therian, because I was like, this is weird. I just want to be a dog. I don't need a label. But it was pretty cool finding a little community with people who were like that as well. So, basically, if you feel like you're an animal mentally, if that just feels right to you. Now, I really urge you to do, research before you actually think about that. Some people say that you can become a Therian because of trauma, and I personally believe that is entirely not true. I believe that you have to be born a Therian with that animal kind of spirit there, and, I don't think it can be developed, and obviously, a lot of people are really confused. They're like, well, how would you know since you were born? Well, I just believe that you have to be born with it, and then you have to kind of awaken it in you at some point in your life. I don't think that you can become a Therian. But overall, things that might kind of show signs of it are, animalistic urges. This is called quadrobics, but, if you walk on all fours a little bit, and I know a lot of, younger kids do that. So it's a little confusing because a little kid is going to be like, I act like an animal and I walk on all fours, I'm a therian. It doesn't necessarily work like that, and you really kind of need to dig more into your brain a little bit. For example, you could have a past life and suddenly remember it, and you're like, hey, like this, like I was an animal. Or, not all therians have past lives, so if you just feel like an animal inside, you might want to do some research on being a therian. Overall, that's just really a difficult question to answer for me personally. I only knew I was a therian because I've identified as an animal my whole life, so for anyone else it could be different, but personally, if you just show like animalistic signs and stuff, you may want to do some research. Question number 3. Is there an age limit, or how old do you have to be a therian? So you all, if you've seen my channel before, know my opinions on the age thing. Now, personally, obviously there's not a certain age you have to be because you can't control being a therian. But personally, if you're like under 12, I don't think I'm going to believe that you're a real therian at all. I'm seeing way too many super young therians, and first of all, you shouldn't be on the internet to even know what that is. Please get off the internet. But seriously, these 9-year-olds, they see a little therian TikTok and think, oh, I act like an animal. That's literally me, bro. Like, I'm going to start identifying as this. It really just saddens me that children are in the internet that much to be exposed to that. And there's nothing wrong with therianthropy, but I don't think kids should be exposed to that at that age. So I really truly don't think that younger therians are actually real, because they're very less likely to actually do research and try to understand it better rather than just go with the label. But to answer the question directly, no, there is not a certain age you have to be. It's really sad that some people may think this because of the trendiness. No, there's not a certain age you have to be. If you're a therian, you're a therian, regardless of age. Question number 4, what is a shift? Okay, so shifts are a little bit difficult to explain because they can be different for everyone. But me personally, the way I'll explain it is just a little more simple. So basically, a shift is basically exactly what it is. A shift in mindset from a human to an animal. And this can be done either like physically, and no, guys, we can't shapeshift. As much as I wish we could, we can't turn into the animal. So for any haters out there who are wondering, unfortunately, no, we cannot shapeshift. But mentally, we can kind of go into that animalistic mindset. And personally, this happens a lot when I'm doing quadrobics, aka walking on all fours. And I kind of, all of my shifts are pretty crazy. But that will be for the next question, which is, what is a shift like? And I will cover that in a moment after I finish explaining what a shift is. Basically, like I just said, a shift in mindset. And this can be through either like physically, or you can get like phantom limbs and stuff, or just mentally start thinking like an animal rather than acting as an animal. So there's a few different types of shifts. If you think you got one, I would recommend, maybe looking some stuff up, doing a little bit of research on YouTube or whatever. But personally, that's my best explanation for what a shift is like. Well, not what a shift is like, but like what a shift is. But now I'm going to talk about what a shift is like. So again, this really, varies from therian to therian, but personally, I always have pretty violent, very physical shifts. Now, I haven't had one of those shifts in a good while. They usually happen when I'm like roughhousing with my dogs on all fours, and I would go into like a very, very fox-like mindset. I would hear myself like yipping and like kind of like rolling around, being really playful. I have very, very playful fox shifts, and it's not painful, really. Some people say shifts can be painful or like uncomfortable, and some people say their shifts, they can like black out, which a lot of people get hate for that, and unfortunately you can't really help if you black out during shifts. I personally, that's never happened to me before, so I can't invalidate that. But I don't think people should be getting hate for experiencing that. I don't think people should say, like, you should get that checked out. Like, no. But yeah, overall, shifts can be different for everyone. Personally, mine are very physical, but some people's might be a little more chill. Now, I just brought up, like, phantom limbs, so I'm going to go straight into that. What is phantom tail or ears? Now, if I say phantom limbs, it's going to offend a group of people, so I'm just going to simplify it and say, like, phantom tail or phantom ears, because we wouldn't want to offend anyone, now would we? So, thankfully, phantom tail is, like, really easy to explain. Basically, you will get random shifts where you feel your tail there. And it's really weird sometimes. Like, if it happens a lot, you get used to it, but, like, it'll just randomly happen. Usually happens sometimes if you're talking about it or thinking about it. Sometimes you can control it and make it happen, or sometimes it just happens. Like, if I'm feeling a really excited emotion, it'll suddenly wag, and sometimes it'll, like, move my body, and it's like, stop. But, and then if I've had one where I was, like, really mad for a second. I felt my tail, like, tense up a little bit, and, like, my ears kind of, like, I felt something in me shift. But overall, the tail it's pretty nice, pretty random, but phantom tail does actually happen. I've experienced it very many times. And as for phantom ears, I don't get those as often, and those are a little more confusing. Obviously, like, they'll, like, go back or, like, move, like, through emotions, but a tail is a lot more easy to explain, personally. And a lot of people say they experience phantom teeth. I have experienced phantom teeth in, like, things before. Usually they're pretty big, like some big cat, and that's one of the reasons I, like, kind of awakened as my tiger stereotype, because those phantom teeth feel, like, way too big for my human mouth. So those are pretty fun too. Thankfully they're not as uncomfortable or, like, physical. I mean, they are, like physical because you feel them there, but, like, they're not a bother really. Unless you have a very vivid imagination and, like, accidentally bite your tongue or something. That would not feel good. But yeah, overall, those phantom limbs are pretty fun to deal with, and that is what they are. Okay, I've been asked this one quite a bit. What is it like to be a therian, or what is it like to experience species dysphoria? Unfortunately, this next one is not so fun to deal with. If you're a true therian that, like, truly feels extreme species dysphoria, you will know it sucks. And I don't say that because, like, oh, it's mildly uncomfortable, or, like, oh, I don't like it. It is extremely uncomfortable. You know, I don't feel comfortable in my own body sometimes. Like, I just feel the urge to be a dog, and unfortunately I can't listen to those urges because I have no one to take care of me as a dog. So it's extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes it even hurts, and sometimes it causes, like, little outbursts, and I hit something and then it really hurts. But overall, being a therian is not fun, for me at least. For people who are here for the trend and, you know, just make the masks and the tails and all that, you know, they don't talk about the actual dark side about being a therian, and in reality, it's not comfortable. But thankfully, being here on YouTube to talk to you guys about it and kind of explain myself a little more, and answering these questions honestly makes me feel a little better being able to explain it. And I've not personally been asked these questions recently, but these are just very frequently asked questions that I see people asking either me or other therians. So I just wanted to cover some of these for you guys. I'm not really answering any direct questions at this moment, but if you guys enjoy this video, I can absolutely make a part 2 and answer your guys' personal questions if I haven't covered them already in this video. Also, just for funsies, leave your stereotype in the comments, or your stereotypes. I'm just curious, and that sounds fun to do. Just comment something that you identify as. Now, I'm going to answer one that I've asked very recently as well, that I've, like, just recently got the answer to. What is other paw? Now, I just recently heard about this, so I don't know much about other paw, and this answer could be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you know what other paw is. But from my understanding, other paw is basically where you have all the traits of a Therian, but it's optional, where you choose. But you don't want to identify as a Therian, otherwise you would be a fake Therian. So that's what other Paul is. Again, I'm assuming I'm right, but if not, please correct me. But that is what other Paul is, and it's very confusing to me personally, but you do you. So that is all the questions that I can really think of that I've been asked before. As of right now, I am a little bit of a silly puppy today. My mind is kind of dumb, so I can't really think of any more, but of course if you have any, I would be very happy to answer those in the comments personally. But overall, guys, I think that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I apologize for the really long video, but y'all deserve it. I've been really sucking here lately. But anyways, you deserve the long video. Please watch it all the way through. Well, if you're here watching this right now, you've watched it all the way through. So thank you very much. You guys are freaking awesome. I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.